Hello everyone, Mark here, Mark's Max Muscle, and I was going over my Christmas list, and I just realized I did not get you guys anything, so I figured I would set this video up entitled, The Christmas Tree, or Christmas Tree Pose. I'll figure it out as I go. This is the Christmas Tree Pose, a classical bodybuilding pose, but who belongs to this one? Well, I'm going to keep that a secret till the very end of this video. So how am I going to do this one? Well, generally, I rewind back to, Eugene Sandow, guys like that. And I'm not going to do it this way, although this picture is of a guy from the 1800s, Robert J. Roberts, if I'm not mistaken. He was maybe the very first ever Christmas tree. You can somewhat see some Christmas tree rungs there, or, But anyway, like I said, I'm not going to do it this way. I am going to fast forward to today. We're going to begin in 2021. You know why? Because the Christmas tree, it's all but dead. You don't see Big Rammy hitting it. You don't see it being hit much at all anymore. And you go back to Phil Heath's day. I mean, this guy hit the Christmas tree a lot. It was almost a mandatory shot back then. Even in a pose like this, he didn't have to hit the pose, the actual, the shot, the pose. He could just, display that Christmas tree in the rear lat spread. So it seems to me, when you skip back to Jay Cutler's day in particular, seems to me that the Christmas tree is getting worse. So in this video, it gets better as you go back in time. And as good as Jay Cutler was here in this picture in particular, he was never as good as Ronnie Coleman. He is in this picture, but let's face it, Ronnie Coleman, all he had to do was stand there. Look at that. Unbelievable, really, when you think about it. And when he did go to do that Christmas tree flex, look at the rungs on that tree. Unbelievable. The lats just as peeled as the day is long as well. But we are focusing in on just the Christmas tree area, the lower lumbar area. And it was versions like this. It was the 2001 that I just showed. And here in 2000, the unassuming versions of Ronnie Coleman is when his Christmas tree was at its very best, in my opinion. And for this video, we're not going to be looking, like I said, I just set this up very quick. Just a quick present for you guys. I didn't focus in on a whole lot of the other bodybuilders, mainly sticking to Olympia champions, although Sean Ray, he's worth to mention, had a nice little Christmas tree. Not bad at all. Overshadowed, of course, by Dorian Yates. And you know what I'm saying, guys? The Christmas tree itself seems to get better and better as you rewind back. And I'm sure you're guessing on who that Christmas tree belonged to, the one that I showed at the very beginning. Now, pretty hard to beat this one, right? Well, you look at the lats themselves. I mean, yeah, Dorian, he's as ripped as anybody. But the Christmas tree itself, you keep rewinding back to 1983, and I'm sure everybody had this guy in their minds as the very best Christmas tree pose of all time, Samir Banu. Look at that, guys. That's a leaflet. That is an unbelievable muscle. Some of the best ever. And I wager to say this is maybe the pinnacle of the Christmas tree. This guy, even in the side shot, you can see the branches on that Christmas tree. Food for thought. There's his back workout. If you want to get a lower back just like Samir Banu, go ahead, do that workout. Anyway, was this the back that I showed at the very beginning of this video? Was it Samir Banu? No, it wasn't. Was it this guy? Was it Frank Zane? Because he's doing a shootout here with Samir Banu. He looks pretty fantastic to me, almost beating him. And actually, food for thought again. Tominator did a video on this nature. So did Desktop Bodybuilding, Xavier Wells. Tominator pointed out that, Frank Zane, almost as good, or maybe every bit as good as Samir Banu. And he was the Olympia champion even before Samir. So maybe the Christmas trees do get better as you go back in time. So if it wasn't one of these guys, whose tree was it? The Austrian oak? Wow. Now, this guy had an unbelievable lower lumbar area, and not just reserved for training pitchers like this where the obvious perfect lighting is an advantage to him. On stage here in 1974, when he was at his most massive, still, as you can plainly see, every bit as diced and conditioned as even maybe the greatest, Samir Banu, arguably the greatest owner of the greatest Christmas tree of all time in bodybuilding. So was it Arnold from the beginning? No, it wasn't, guys. So, for the life of me, who belongs to this Christmas trees, baby please, Louis Margot? It is none other than Paul Grant. Paul Grant, one of the few non-Olympia champions that I'm even mentioning in this video. Paul Grant had maybe the first ever pose of this nature. I mean, Arnold did in fact compete a few years before Paul Grant, but even throughout his entire career, even right to the bitter end, Arnold never was striking the Christmas tree pose just like this. This is a definite precursor to the future, and a guy like Paul Grant really should get the respect that he deserves. Even in the rear double by, you can clearly see that Christmas tree imprint, and it's a sad state of affairs, guys. There's not too many shots at all of this very well-conditioned, very underrated bodybuilder in Paul Grant. But anyway, guys, that's your Christmas present. Hope you enjoyed it. Wasn't maybe as informative as the Christmas tree video put out by Xavier Wills. Tominator had a lot more guys put in it, but I figured I would just do this quick one just for you guys. Happy holidays.